Have you sat down to 3D print something and your printer pops up a maintenance reminder instead?
Or maybe you're thinking about getting a 3D printer and you want to know what's needed to keep it running.
In this video, we're going to show you what gets cleaned, what gets oiled or greased, and the basic stuff you should have before you start.
Stick around and we'll walk through everything step by step. Hey, what's up guys? I'm Evan.
And I'm Ryan.
Welcome to the Bonding Blueprint.
So we were getting ready to print the next parts for Evan's Iron Man helmet, and our H2S popped up with a maintenance notification instead.
So before we keep printing, we need to take care of the printer's first service.
Before we begin, let's go over all the stuff you'll need. And of course, I'll put links to all of these items in the description. So first up is a battery-powered air duster for getting dust and debris out of tight spaces inside the printer. It charges with the USB cable, so it's reusable and safer than a can of air. Plus, they're great for cleaning other household electronics, especially keyboards. You'll also want a vacuum with a long, narrow attachment so you can reach into the tighter areas and clean up loose dust and debris. A few lint-free microfiber cloths is a must. You'll use them constantly during cleaning and maintenance. For other general cleaning, you're going to want some warm water with dish soap for cleaning your build plates and some 99% isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol. We also picked up glass spray bottles, which just makes everything a lot easier to apply neatly and evenly. Next up is silicone oil and silicone lubricating grease. We recommend buying the larger bottles right from the start because you're going to be using a lot more than the tiny starter amounts that come with the printer. The printer does come with a small tube of grease and a small tube of oil in the starter kit, and those can work if that's all you have, but there's really not much in them, especially once you start greasing the threaded rods. For the oil, we recommend a small needle bottle applicator, which makes a huge difference. It helps you reach tighter spots without making a big mess. We also like keeping some synthetic exam gloves around. They help keep grease and oil off your hands and make cleanup a lot easier and safer. And lastly, gear floss works really well around the threaded rods. A regular microfiber cloth tends to catch, bind up, and leave little fibers behind, so this does a much better job. All right, so we're in the printer room. We're going to start the maintenance, and the first step that we need to do is shut off the power to the printer, and then we're going to disconnect the AMS and move that off the top, because then you can take the top glass off, one for cleaning, but also two, just to get better lighting and better access to the top. So as we're in here fiddling around and filming, we can have another camera angle there. So we're going to do that first. Once you go around to the other side of the printer, I'm going to have you reach behind and shut off the power. Yep. And then actually, why don't you unplug the power cable too? Just, yeah, right below it and pull it out. Good, drop it. And in order to take the AMS off, we need to remove this piece here. And essentially this little black sleeve, it needs to push in while this pulls out. So this tool is made so you can use that to push in on the black sleeve and then use your other hand to pull the tube right out. Should come out nice and easy. There you go. All right, so that's how you disconnect that. And now we need to disconnect the power from the AMS that goes into the back of the printer. So now grab, that. And what that does is it slides. Here, hold on, I want to show. So there's actually a little lip here in the back of this tool right here.
Yeah.
Okay, and that goes, oh, you know what? There's only one way to put it on. It has to go on the power thing this way. So this little lip gets behind the power. Yep. And then you can use that. It actually pushes the little tip on the end, and you can use that to kind of pry it up. Yep. You can just use that and just pop it off. It is pretty difficult to pull off. See this little pinch thing? That this holder right here slides on there and holds that open so it's easier to take off. And the AMS, we're just going to take that. Okay, and then we'll take the glass top off of this, one for cleaning and also, just like I said, to get some better access. Jeez, such a goof. Okay, so step 2 is just going to be some general dusting and cleaning and checking of the filters. So the first thing we need to do is get to this back grate, and when we open this up, it's going to hit this build plate here. So we need to move the build plate down out of the way. So in order to do that, up here on the control panel, you push this little button here, and then you want motion. And then if you start moving it after a power off and power on, it's going to come up with that error. Please home all the accesses. So you just say home access. First, it goes and homes the top nozzle, and then the build plate's going to come up to meet the nozzle. And what it's doing is it's figuring out where everything is in space. All right, so you're definitely going to want some safety gloves or like exam gloves so your hands don't get all gross and dirty. And then now what we want to do is we want to move the build plate down out of the way. So Evan, if you want to hit that, see that one that says 10? It goes down 10. So each time you push it, it moves down 10 units. And so if you tap it a couple times, unfortunately you can't hold it slow. Because see how it's actually going to store in memory how many times you push it. So you don't want to go too far down or it will crash into the bottom of the bed. All right, stop there. Because what we're trying to do on the top of this grate, can you pull out, push down on it and pull out, and that's how you open that door. Now, does that hit the build plate? Nope, perfect, good. All right, and so this is how you access, that's the air filter. And then that's the exhaust fan that goes out the back. And so what we want to do is we want to take out the filter. This is a brand new filter, and I just replaced it a little while ago off camera. So we don't need to do much with that. From there, what we're going to do now is blow out that fan. So I believe, does this go down? Yeah. So this right here is an automatic, and actually we shouldn't be doing that right now with the printer powered up. So go ahead and shut off the printer, Evan. You can reach just behind and just power it off again with the switch. So there will be times where you need to turn on and off the printer to do certain things like moving that little shield down. Yeah. So now what you want to do is take a USB electric duster. You saw that earlier in the video. Okay, and then now stop for a sec. So what happens when you blow a fan with a duster is the fan just spins. And we don't want it to just spin, we actually want it to hold in place. So you can take like a little screwdriver, or in this case an Allen wrench, grab that, and stick it in the fan blade just to hold the fan in place. And now use the duster just to get in there and blow all the dust out the back. Now that that's all dusted out and we know that's dusted, go ahead and put the filter box back in. Yeah, move that up. Yeah, put the bottom in, and then, yeah, there you go. And then the bottom part goes in first. There's little clips at the bottom.
I didn't do it.
Okay. Okay, so we should have done this earlier, but for right now, we're gonna take the build plate out because as we're dusting and vacuuming and things like that, it's going to get a little bit messy. We're gonna take the blower, and there is a bunch of dirt and debris up at the top. And so whenever you're blowing stuff out, start at the top and work your way down. You don't wanna blow out the bottom, you wanna blow off the top first and then wipe up the stuff that lands into the bottom of the printer. So go ahead and clean that stuff out. Now you're going to take one of the microfiber cloths. So we have a nice glass bottle of IPA, 99%, and we're just going to squirt some of that onto the towel. Try not to aim it directly into the printer when you do. All right, so put a little IPA on a cloth and then use the IPA to clean inside the printer. Spray some IPA on it. So IPA is useful because it evaporates over time. So it's a great cleaning solution, rubbing alcohol, it cleans and then it dissipates over time. And make sure you get this back little, that's actually the little nozzle cleaner. So you wanna make sure that's nice and clean. Clean that whole top surface. And then wipe down the side walls, wipe down, pretty much all the big surfaces. The printer, when it prints, it has little residue and, yep, clean the exhaust box. Or that's the air intake, actually. Yeah, and any other big surfaces, yeah, sure, absolutely. The more you clean, the better, because you can actually see, while Evan's cleaning that, I don't know if you can see it from these various angles, but there's a lot of residue.
You've done it.
A lot of residue here on the glass. And so all of that residue not only is on the glass, but it's on the inside walls of the printer itself. All right, so now let's turn on the printer. Okay, now that it's on, go back into the build plate settings. It's hard to say. Yeah, there you go. Now you want motion XYZ because that's how you move the build plate. And then hit the home button right there in the middle. Or now you can, yeah, that's fine. See that home button? Yeah, if you push that, it'll home again inside the box. Okay, now we're gonna vacuum out all of the stuff in the bottom. Yeah, we've got just a standard house vacuum. I'm not sure how well you can see in there, but there's just a bunch of loose little printer filament and things like that. So Evan's gonna vacuum all that up. All right, so that's loud and obnoxious. So we're just gonna clean up the rest of the printer, get all that done and vacuumed out, and do just a quick little wipe down, and then also cleaning the glass while we're here. So just a little bit of IPA on the glass cleans it up nice. So we turn off the printer, and now what we're gonna be cleaning is the X-axis rails. It's this metal rail right here in between the belts. That's the X-axis rail, and that's what we're going to clean first. So same as before, you're gonna wanna, you can move this around and push this over. So we're gonna push it all the way to one side to make it easier, and you can move it, wherever it's easier for you to get to. But you wanna wipe the front, the tops, the back, all of it with a nice IPA cloth. So maybe fold this over, right? Fold that over and have a different section that you didn't use for cleaning. So it's a nice clean section of the rag. Try not to get too much on the rubber piece, but get the rest of it all nice and cleaned up if you can. So here's a trick too. So if you're trying to do something tiny like that, instead of using the whole cloth, just take a couple fingers and wrap it like this, right? Because then you can just touch just the surface that you want with just the finger, right? But make sure it's a spot that has a little bit of the IPA on it so it gets it nice and clean. Clean it really good. Do the tops and the bottoms. Okay, is that nice and clean? Mm-hmm. Okay, yep, move it over. And now clean the other side. Cleaned on the top and the back and the bottom and everything? Mm-hmm. All right, so that's the cleaned X-axis rail. All right, so for the X-axis rail, once it's all cleaned, we're gonna take the oil, and for this one, we're gonna go ahead and just use the little Bambu ones that come with the Bambu Lab printer. In the future, we have the bigger cans that we showed earlier in the video that we'll use with applicators. Where you wanna put the oil is in this front little lip that goes right along here. Okay, so Evan's gonna put a little bit on that top lip. Okay, yep. Should be good. And then you want to do the same thing and put a little bit underneath. Try to go, behind that. And so this is where the needle applicator comes in pretty handy, which is why we won't be using these small little things much past this first service. The needle bottle makes it a little easier. I don't have the actual oil in it, but this makes it a lot easier to put it exactly where you need it. All right, and to finish this up, just move the print head back and forth a couple times by hand to distribute the oil along the rail and then clean up any extra. So now what we need to do is clean the Y-axis rails, which is another smooth rail there on that side. And then, so there's one on each side. So we'll take that trolley and we'll push it all the way to the back for now, get it out of the way. And now get another section of rag, put some IPA on it for cleaning. So yeah, now we're on step 5. So we're cleaning the Y-axis rails. So what Evan's doing is he's wrapping the cloth kind of around the back of it. And then he's gonna kind of shoe shine those little rails up. All the way up and down, get all the grease and debris off of it. That's probably good. And then take off the cloth and just clean the front side of it too, because you clean the backs and the tops and the bottoms. Now you just want to clean the kind of side of it a little bit. Okay. All right, now you're going to take the oil. Okay, so here we actually switched over to the needle bottle. The small little applicator was giving us grief. The needle bottle does come out quick, so if you put too much on, you do want to wipe that up so it doesn't drip down into the printer bed first. You don't really need a lot of oil on these rails. A little bit goes a long way. Then you can just take your finger, distribute some of that oil up and down the rail, and then use the trolley, move it back and forth to spread that oil around on the entire rail. Do it a couple times and then wipe off the excess on the ends after you're done. And then go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side. All right, now we're on step 6. So we're going to be cleaning the verticals. So don't clean the threaded one. What we're going for is just the smooth rail. We want to clean those. Try not to put your fingers on that.
I'm not trying to.
It's just tough to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. You got it. Yeah, because there's grease on the. Don't. Don't run this along the thread. Keep that off of the thread because that'll actually pick up a ton of grease and dirt and grime. We're going to clean those in a second with gear floss. Yeah, I would put that one away and grab a different one. And then at this point, just repeat the cleaning of the smooth rods on the back and the right. What we're going to be doing now is we're going to be using what's called gear floss, okay? It's a little microfiber floss that's going to wrap around these threaded segments here. So we're going to wrap it around that and then use that to clean it. So Evan, go ahead and wrap it around this one here, like I showed you. So what you want to do is you actually want to wrap it around once all the way around. This is where your hands are going to get pretty gross. So you go around that spindle once and then grab both ends of it and then pull them just like you're back and forth all the way up and down the thread. So this is going to clean, see how much stuff is coming off, and then go all the way up with it. You went over the cap, and I think you accidentally went up above it. Okay, there you go. All right, and the goal here is to get all of the black grease off of each one of these spindles, and there's 3 just like the smooth rods. So, and in hindsight, we should have done the spindles with the threads first and then done the smooth rods after. We had to go back and clean up the smooth rods. And you can actually see I did end up leaving a little bit of extra grease on that back rod, which I cleaned up later off camera. We're going to go ahead and apply the grease to the threaded rod. We're not going to use the Bambu Lab grease. Go ahead and open that up. What we're going to be doing is we also 3D printed these 2 tools. And what they are is they're just spots where you put just a little bit of grease right in here, and then you use this to drag the grease up along the thread, okay? So you're gonna have to put grease in it, drag it, put grease in it, drag it, put grease in it, drag it up, okay? This one, the angled one, is so you can go in the back around that smooth piece and put the grease on like this, okay? So you're gonna do that on all 3 of the threaded rods, not the smooth one, okay? So go ahead and grease them up. So you want just a little bit, not a ton. And the goal here is just stick a little bit of grease inside of each of the little thread marks on all 3 rods. And then we'll move the build plate up and down to distribute the grease and wipe off the excess. So, and then last, we're just going to put the oil on the smooth pipe. Or the smooth rail. And again, you don't need a lot. A little bit of grease goes a long way, or a little bit of oil. Again, oil on the smooth, grease on the threaded. And now you're just going to use the control panel to move the bed up and down over and over again. Be careful when you're doing this. If you tap it a bunch, as I said earlier in the video, it'll keep moving until it completes all of the commands you gave it. So just be careful not to run it up into the very top and the very bottom, but you basically just want to move this up and down over and over again. And as you can see, the threading is now spreading all that nice grease all the way up and down.
Yeah, except it's getting stuck.
It is getting a little caked in the threading, so it just means we put too much in, but we'll take some of it out here in a second. Yeah, so you can see there's a little bit of grease buildup on the ends of the rods. There, and definitely a little bit back there. So probably went a little excessive on the grease, but I am okay with that. So now we're just gonna peel see if I can get a cloth in there and pick some of that grease out. Probably have to use like some sort of tool. Okay, and then lastly, step 7 is really just to inspect a couple pieces in here that you wanna clean up. So there's this piece right here, which is where the nozzle wipes the filament off on this little piece back here. You wanna see too? Yeah. So back in here, when the nozzle is cleaning itself, it moves itself over the top of this, and these little rubber pieces cleans the little end of the nozzle off. And so that's what this is there. So you just want to make sure that that's still intact. These are still here and they're not all worn off, because that'll clean off the end. If you've got a bunch of spider webbing on your nozzle's dirty, you can definitely pop open this front door and take the sleeve off. But we're going to cover that actually in a later maintenance video. This is pretty much everything that you need to do for the 3-month service. What I want you to do is now that we've performed that service, we need to go into the menu. Now you want to go into that assistant and you want to tell it, hey, these are done. So click on one of the things and say, go to maintain. And then you want to say complete because we finished it. Now go back to the main menu to the assistant again, because I think there's another one that we need to clear out. And we did all of those. There you go, complete, boom. So now error messages are gone and we can get back to printing Iron Man parts. So overall, the first 3-month service was pretty easy and manageable.
Yeah, it was mostly just cleaning, oil, and grease.
Nothing too crazy, but staying on top of it helps keep the printer running well and helps avoid bigger problems later.
Now we can get back to 3D printing more Iron Man helmet parts. If you're learning 3D printing, make sure to subscribe. We've got a lot more coming. Thanks for watching.